Grace of Glory International Chapel. Good morning. This is probably the third week or the third Monday of the year 2026, and things ought to have started happening. We thank God because of the grace that we are trading with. Welcome very much to Miracles Grace Service. This is Impossible Made Possible series. And we are saying connect with the supernatural manifestation of grace, because our God is blessing us under the amazing grace of Glory International Chapel, AGGIC. Today we are discussing about emergency abundance or emergency breakthrough by the masses of the living God. Emergency breakthrough or emergency abundance. And we are getting our theme from 2 Kings chapter number 7 and verse 16. Then the people went out and plundered the camp of the Arameans. So a seah of flour sold for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley sold for a shekel, as the Lord had said. Why are we taking this as a miracle? Why are we taking it as a miracle? It's simply because of if you look at these people, and I know there are people, this is where they are, in a very serious economic crisis. If you look at chapter number 6, they were under siege. They were under a siege. They were under siege. These people could not do anything by themselves. They were under the siege of Arameans, and they could not help themselves. If you look at chapter number 6 and verse 25, there was a great famine in the city, and the siege lasted so long, 7 years, that a donkey's head sold for 80 shekels of silver, and a quarter of a cab of seed pod for 5 shekels. If you also look at verse 26, we are in chapter number 6. As the king of Israel was passing by on the wall, a woman cried out, "Help me, my lord the king." The king replied, "If the Lord does not help you, where can I get help for you? From the threshing floor? From the winepress?" Then he asked her, "What is the matter?" She answered, "This woman said to me, 'Give up your son so that we may eat him today, and tomorrow we will eat my son.' So we cooked my son and ate him. The next day I said to her, 'Give up your son so that we may eat him.' But she had hidden him." Notice that a very serious economic crisis. The city of Samaria was under Arameans siege by Ben Hadad, and the siege lasted for too long. The siege resulted into a very great famine, very great severe famine. And this famine was so severe, so extreme, so great that they started eating their own children. You know, just think of it. Going through hunger to a point whereby you now cook your child to survive. It does not make any sense. But this is where they found themselves at. 2 Kings, chapter number 6, and verse 28. The woman said, "Give up your son, so that we may eat him today, and tomorrow we will eat my son." So we cooked my son and ate him. How now? The next day, I said, "Give up your son so that we may cook him and eat him." But she had hidden him. There are people that are going through very severe and very extreme challenges of this life, that if you were to know what they are going through, you would bring yourself to extending your heart in helping. You don't help because you have, and you don't help because you know a person, but you help because you have the Spirit of God. Look at these people. They are under Ben-Hadad's siege. It lasted for 7 years. And I know there are people who are under the siege of a strong man. When you are put under a siege, you do not function. You actually become malfunctional. You become dysfunctional. You become immovable because you are under a siege. You are under a siege. So you don't have movement. You don't have activities that are productive. You don't have anything you are doing. You are under a siege. It's like you have been put under house arrest. The siege. Those people, because in those days they were building cities with war. The enemy would come and surround the city wall, making sure no one is going out and no one is coming in. And during those days, they used to do farming outside the city, and then they would come and live in the city. So when the siege is there, you can't go out to get resources, and the siege is there. There is no movement into the city to bring resources. So these people are under a siege, meaning you only rely with what was available before the siege was instituted. The moment it is depleted, the moment it is used up, you start being in need. You start being in want. And because there is no supply of resources, your situation of the need continues to increase becoming more and more extreme and severe until either you succumb to starvation or you surrender to the enemy. That was the case of these sieges. And you notice there are people, us today, you are not under that kind of a national siege, but you are under a personal siege where a strong man has employed a system of black energies to hold you in an atmosphere of malfunctionality until nothing is working in you, nothing is functioning until either you succumb or you surrender to the enemy. You can't fight. You are not eating. You are not drinking. You don't have anything that is coming on the way. You don't have anything that is coming your way. You are stuck somewhere. You don't know what you are going to do next. You are under a siege. You are under a siege. Nothing is working. What do you do next? Are you going to surrender? Are you going to surrender? These people found themselves in that situation. To a point, the king was told by one woman, "My lord, my king, we have had starvation, hunger. We don't have resources." Uiweke hapa nyuma hii murango. Nothing. To a point, we have been eating donkeys. They had eaten donkeys in verse 25. That the head of a donkey was selling for 80 shekels of silver and a quarter of a cub of seed pods for 5 shekels. They reached to a point whereby donkeys, the supply of donkeys added. They started now becoming carnivorous of their own children. I don't know the name we use to speak about people who eat other people. They started eating their own children. They started eating their own children. Me, when I look at this situation, I see very many people in this situation. That even if you were to meditate, you don't see where a solution can come from. The king said, if you listen to the language of the king, he said, in verse what? In verse that one, he said, "May God deal with me, be it ever so severely, if the head of Elisha, son of Shaphat, remains on his shoulders today." If you look at the king, in verse 33, he says, "This disaster is from the Lord. Why should I wait for the Lord any longer?" Oh, just imagine that is the level you have been pushed to. You have been pushed to the point of now blaming God himself. Blaming God himself. They are eating children. Yesterday, they cooked one of the child they ate. Just try to imagine the thoughts that were in the mother of that child when they heard the son. They started slaughtering him. Then they started cooking him. And now you are eating. Did that woman really sleep? You can imagine how extreme the situation was. And then the following day, she's telling the other woman, yesterday we ate my child. Bring yours today, we cook him, we eat. The siege of 7 years. Famine was great. Nothing is working because no one can go out of the city to go and do import. No one is coming into the city to do distribution and supply. So once you have consumed what was in your granary and it is used up, from there you cannot experience another supply. And it is not just about one day. We are speaking about 7 years siege, 7 years of malfunction, 7 years of nothingness, 7 years of emptiness, 7 years of things not working out. Not because you do not want to do it, but because you are under a siege. You are under a condition. Of nothing functioning. Of nothing functioning. And the next question is, what do we do? The king said, this problem we have, this disaster, he called it a disaster. This disaster is from the Lord. Why should I wait for the Lord any longer? This is a king. And reaching to that point of expressing utmost desperation, it shows you how extreme and severe the situation was. King Joram arose and he said, people are dying of hunger. People have eaten donkeys. They have exhausted that supply of donkeys. So meaning, before they come to donkeys, they have eaten goats, they have eaten what else? Cattle, they have eaten camels, they have eaten whatever is eatable. If you may consider even 2 Kings chapter number 7 and the verse 13, one of his officers answered, make some men take 5 of the horses that are left in the city. Make some men take 5 of the horses that are left in the city. Where were the other horses? They had already been, either they had died of starvation or they had eaten them. So there is no food product that is available for these people in Samaria. So they have only 2 single options, 2 only. Either they accept to die of starvation because they can no longer now eat children. We ate the first child. Now this other one has been hidden. So what is left now? The king have said, where can I get help for you? From the threshing floor, from the wine press. If the Lord does not help you, where can I get help for you? From the threshing floor, from the wine press. The king actually, imagine, the king is telling this woman, if the Lord does not help you. Me, I'm a human being. Where do you think I will get help for you from? The king is saying, this disaster, in verse 33, this disaster is from the Lord. Why should I wait for the Lord any longer? This is where many people are. They have reached the point of even saying, me, I'm tired of faith. Let me go to Freemasons. Because if God wanted to help me, he could have done so long time ago. This disaster is from the Lord. Why should I wait for the Lord any longer? That is an expression of utmost desperation. That you're looking at your situation and you have reached the point of even seeing that God cannot help you. The king looked at the severity of the famine. People are in very extreme starvation. There is no food supply because they are under the Aramean siege by Ben-Hadad. So the king said, this disaster is from the Lord. Why should I wait for the Lord any longer? But remember, he can see it is Ben-Hadad who's put a siege around Samaria. But he is interpreting it as, this is God who has given these people power to put us under a siege. So he now turned the matter back to God. Lord, remind me. There is something I'm trying to remember. This is where many people are. You are in a situation when you look all around yourself, you don't have hope that even God will sort you out. You look at how ugly the situation is, that even if God were to speak positive, you won't believe it because the situation is dire. Can you listen to 2 Kings 7 and verse 2? The officer on whose arm the king was leaning said to the man of God, look, even if the Lord should open the floodgates of the heavens, could this happen? To the point whereby, even if God is speaking, you can't believe him. That it is God speaking, okay, it is God, but I don't believe even that God, that this situation can change. These people were left with only one condition, two conditions: succumb to starvation or surrender to the enemy. If you listen to the king when the miracle happened, his expression was this way. In 2 Kings 7, verse 12, the king got up in the night and he said to his officers, I will tell you what the Arameans have done to us. They know we are starving, so they have left the camp to hide in the countryside, thinking they will surely come out and then we will take them alive and get into the city. That is the condition of their faith. That God even has done it, but still they can't see the heart of God. They are saying, okay, the king is telling them, let me tell you what has happened. The Arameans know we are in starvation. They know we are starving. So they have withdrawn from the camp as a bait so that we can come out to go to look for food. And that way we will have surrendered to the enemy because we can't fight the enemy. We are malnutritioned completely. We are starving. We don't have the strength. The only strength that they can push us to go out of the city is hunger, to go through for something to put in the stomach. That even God has done it, but still you can't believe it. Not in terms of you are amazed. No, it is in terms of, to you, there is no way the situation can change. It kind of come to a place whereby you have accepted that things will never change. This is what these people are. We are just highlighting the very wrong story. That Ben-Hadad came and he put a siege on the city of Samaria. It resulted to very great famine, to the point they ate donkeys, they ate calves of seed pods. Then they started eating their own children. That God is even speaking through Elisha, and they cannot believe God. They are even saying, no, before you tell us about God, in the first place, this disaster is from the Lord. Why should we continue waiting on the Lord? His pastor is the one we are going to kill. So they said, if by tomorrow the head of Elisha remains on him, may God deal with him so severely. How's that now? Why is he turning the blame to the man of God? Because, not because he needed to do so, but because the problem is unexplainable. You are looking for anything that you can shift blame to, because it is not making any sense. Why this? People, women are eating their own children. And today we are seeing people doing that. Today people are eating their own children, but not directly, but by practicing some certain wicked things. Simply because the poverty you are in has persisted for too long and has become more severe. Every year. The problem is not reducing, but the problem is deepening, because there is no supply, but the needs keep on increasing every day. The need is increasing, but the supply system has been blocked by Ben-Hadad. The supply system has been blocked by the Arameans army. The supply has been blocked by a strongman and legion of demons. So you are under a siege, and they have put you in that condition. You remain there until eventually you agree with their terms, or you will succumb. The third option of salvation, it doesn't appear anywhere. The other option of fighting does not appear anywhere. How will you then fight? The horses have died. The donkeys have been eaten. You have even eaten children. You are starving, malnutritioned. You are very hungry because you are under a great famine. So how do you bring yourself to the place of fighting? So the issue of prayer and fasting does not come anywhere in the picture. That, I want to enter into a warfare. Rekapagababa, ripakapakapagababo, zeria ziu sheketere. It doesn't come into the picture, because even the strength to even utter a word is not there. You are lost in the agony. You are lost in the destitution. You are lost in the impoverishment. And God is not showing up. Nobody is addressing your matter. The king who is capturing the attention of your prides doesn't have any help. He is actually more desperate than you, wearing a sackcloth, a sign of desperation. The king said, if the Lord does not help you, where can I get help for you? From the machine front or from the wine press? Where? The king expressed his desperation and he told this woman, I am your king, but in this kind of a situation, I don't have means and ways of helping you. This is a problem that is beyond the government. That's why he said, this disaster is from the Lord. Why should I continue waiting on the Lord any longer? How many people are there? How many people? That is a condition that you are dealing with. The point whereby you have brought yourself to the presence of, you have even risked praying bad prayers and still nothing is moving. You want to experience a breakthrough out of that mess, but the breakthrough is not for the coming. What next? What next? He is saying, we are perishing. We are eating our own children. There is no hope left. There is nothing we are waiting the Lord on. Completely lost. If it were you, what would you do? If God does not help you, where can I get help for you? From the threshing floor, from the wine press. 1 Kings 6, verse 27. Then verse 33. This disaster is from the Lord. Why should I wait for the Lord any longer? Verse 28. This woman said to me, give up your son so that we may eat him today, and tomorrow we will eat my son. So we cooked my son and ate him. The next day, I said to her, give up your son so that we may eat him. But she had hidden him. Can you just try to contemplate that? Verse 25. The famine was great, that a donkey's head sold for 80 shekels of silver, and a quarter of a cab of seed pods for 5 shekels. Just internalize that. And you see how dire the situation was. Praise God. To the point of eating children. I don't know, sometimes, I don't know whether we even reason through the scripture. The woman is telling the king, the famine, the starvation is so dire. Yesterday, we ate my son. We literally cooked my son, slaughtered my son, cut him into pieces. Then he put those meat in the pot. We boiled, and we ate my son. And today is the turn of this woman to bring her son. We slaughter, we cook, we eat him. But now she has hidden her son. I don't know, can you put yourself in those shoes? And we say, our faith has been tested. And we say, our faith has been tested. The siege brought great famine. That you have been put artificially under a siege. So you become completely malfunctional and dysfunctional. A point whereby you can't go out and no one can come in. You get that? So you cannot go out and no one who can come to you. So you are there isolated. You are there desolate in a solitary place. It kind of been put under a demonic segregated area, because around you is Aramean's army with the king called Ben-Hadad, and they are not fighting you. Their interest is to make you starve to death or to comply. There are people who do that to others. They throw using demonic apparatus. They throw things, systems to you, that those systems put you in a very serious condition of need. Now, this is how they do it. But they put in this condition whereby you continue to deteriorate and worsen and decline until you have no option apart from complying, or you succumb to the situation. You don't have the option of fighting back, because how will you fight back? Or you're completely malnutrition, or you're in starvation, you're in hunger, pangs of hunger. And it's not about 1 day, 2 days. We are speaking of a scenario that lasted for 7 years, until all of the government reserve food had been depleted. Now the king is saying, if God does not give you help, where do you think I can get help for you? From the threshing floor? From the wine press? This disaster is from the Lord. Why should we continue waiting on the Lord? And the disaster itself is from the Lord. But we know the disaster was by Ben-Hadad and his Aramean army. To the point you are eating your child. I know you have not come to that point of trading your child, selling your child, or even sacrificing your child. You have not come to that point. This is where they were. Even the bodyguard of the king rebuked God. He told Elisha, even if God was to open the floodgate of heaven, something like this, it cannot happen. This condition of ours is out of hand. There is no even heavenly interventions that can sort out our condition. Yani, they were out of hope. They were outside hope. A point whereby you reach that you're not even waiting on the Lord. I don't know that you have ever gotten to that point. I don't know whether you have ever gotten to that point whereby you are now no longer waiting on the Lord. You are now waiting on the fate. Whatever was meant to happen will happen. And you do not have in your mind about the turning around. No. It's about the fate. And the fate is death. But about God, that God is going to come, it is now out of you. Because You have gone through extreme, severe starvation, famine of resources, or still holding on to the Lord. To a point then, it reached a point whereby you now shifted the blame to God. That this problem I am going through, God is participating. Because you're asking yourself, how now? Because if God is all powerful, this is a problem you would have sorted out a long time ago. Yani, you are now not waiting on the Lord. That's where you are. You are now not waiting on, you're waiting on the fate. You're waiting on the universe to deal with you as it finds it fitting for you. But about God, your faith is out. If you can just try to read through this story of these people. But we said, an emergency breakthrough. We said an emergency abundance. An abundance that came as an emergency. Unexpected. Nobody was even waiting for it. Even when the king was told that we can go to the camp of Arameans and plunder, he said, no. This is a military technique. They know we are starving. In 2 Kings 7, verses 12. So they have withdrawn from the camp so that we may go out to go look for food. And then they come and they take us alive. The king told, no, people, don't be right. That miracle is not a miracle. That is a lie. That is a trap. That is a trap. Don't take it. Who is telling you that something has happened? That is a liar. Don't go. He needed an officer to convince him. An officer told him in verse 13, it's okay, king. Let some men take 5 of the horses that are remaining. Their pride will be like that all of the Israelites left here. Yes, there will only be like all of these Israelites who are doomed. So let us send them to find out what happened. Because even if they will go and die, they will just die just like we are going to die. The difference will be they have died in advance, but we will be catching up with them. Can you imagine that state? That no, king, just release 5 men, let them go. Even if they will die, what's the difference, my king? They will just die the way we are about to die because of starvation. So the difference is they have died earlier than us. But the fate is the same. We are for doom. But the miracle has happened. Before we surrender or we comply to the enemy, and before we succumb to the situation, the Lord is bringing a turnaround. The Lord is bringing a turnaround. That which was meant to doom us, that which was meant to destroy us completely, that which was meant to destroy us, the Lord is bringing a divine mechanism, and we were meant to perish, but the Lord will bring a turnaround for us. Just allow me within a few minutes highlight the secret of this miracle of 2 Kings chapter number 7. Remember, this is Miracles Grace Service, MGS. And we say the miracle means a supernatural intervention where the human capacity has completely failed. A supernatural intervention where human capacity has failed completely. That even if you were to be given 1,000 years to sort out that issue, you would never. So it is outside human power. As long as it has to do with human, it is outside human power. Then you get a remedy That remedy is what we call a miracle, because no human being, including yourself, can do it. Can only be done by God. Number one is Elisha, the man of God. When you notice you're in this type of great famine, severe starvation, to the point now it is imminent, you are going to be doomed. First of all, run to Elisha. Run to a man of God. The prophet of God, however you want to put it. But make sure this person you have gone to is Elisha. Is Elisha. Make sure is Elisha. So you need to define who is an Elisha. That one is very key. Number two is the word of the Lord. We are in 2 Kings 7 verse 1. The next thing is the word of God. This is a solution. The word of the Lord. The word of the Lord. Number two, we say it is the man of God. The man of God. Number three is open floodgates of the heavens. Open floodgates of heaven. Make sure you are open floodgates. Remember how floodgates are opened. Floodgates of heaven. So the question is, how are the floodgates of heaven opened? There are two possible ways, or three or four. The heavens are open. Number one is tithing. Number two is obedience. Number three is being in the ark. Number four is baptism, that it turns you into a living sacrifice. Okay, the next thing is, that one you see it in verse 2. The next thing is the four living creatures. The four living creatures. The four living creatures. The four living creatures. Yes, I know you may not understand what I'm saying by that. If you look at this miracle was done by God, but he used the four men with leprosy. The four men with leprosy. What do they represent? These four men with leprosy. They represent the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And those four books speaks of the four living creatures. I know you didn't know that. They represent Revelation 4 and verse Gapi. And verse, where is this? Verse Gapi? Verse 6 part B. In the center, around the throne, were four living creatures, and they were covered with eyes in front and behind. The first living creature was like a lion, that's the book of Matthew. And the second was like an ox, that's the book of Mark. And the third was like the face of like a man, that is book of Luke. That is why Luke called Jesus the Son of Man. And then the fourth was like the flying eagle. That's the book of John, that speaks about the divinity of Jesus Christ. Ox, it speaks of Jesus Christ as a worker. And then Matthew speaks of Jesus Christ as a lion of the tribe of Judah. So you must make sure you activate those four dimensions. The four dimensions of the four living creatures. Because God is saying around those four men with leprosy. That was a figure of speech. What do they represent, those four men? They represent the four living creatures. And the four living scriptures speak of the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Okay. Something else is what else? Is what? Is the sound of chariot and horses. Sound of chariot. Sound of chariot and horses. Chariot, chariot and horses of fire. And horses of fire. If you remember the story in the book of 2 Kings 6 and verse 17, Elisha prayed that the eyes opened, the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and he saw the hill full of horses and the chariot of fire all around Elisha. These chariot and horses of fire is what Elisha released. That the Arameans were hearing, as if the people of Samaria have hired the army of Egypt and Hittites and that. How did they hire them? And they are under siege. So it is something that was supernatural. They had. Again, that one is very, 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 very important. And that miracle happened the way it happened. Yes. Because when we are at our lowest, we do not know actually what we are going to do. We must come up with a means that is going to bring us a supernatural intervention. If you look at it, this miracle was created by Elisha. And the word of the Lord, he said, hear the word of the Lord. Number 3 was the opening of the floodgates of heavens. The bodyguard said, even if God would open the floodgates of heaven, Elisha told him, you will see it with your own eyes. So he was telling this man, you will see the floodgates of heaven opening. But what will be released, you will not taste it. So the floodgate of heaven opened. And number 4 is the 4 men with leprosy. There will be always a need for triggers. And that speaks of the 4 living creatures. And that speaks of the book of Matthew. Read those 4 books. Or apply the 4 living creatures. The 4 living creatures application. That is, we have said a lion, then ox, then man, and then the eagle. Is it the eagle? Yes. That one is very key. That one is also very, 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 very key. Yes. But we should discuss about that all the time of the 4 living creatures. We shall look at it. And then finally is the sound of a chariot and horses and a great army. That is sound. That is sound. It was not just a sound, it was a reality. But it was a reality outside the natural eyes. So it was a chariot and horses of fire that were surrounding Elisha all around. That is what Elisha released. So may God bless you so much. Have a very wonderful, wonderful day. That was a miracle for us today. If you'd like me to pray for you about this kind of intervention, I'm also praying for the same, because I'm in this condition of the people of Samaria. I want also to get to experience this kind of supernatural intervention. You can take my number and you can call me. We can have a conversation and we see how we are going to pray. +254 112 796463. That's why I give you my number so that we can pray. The time is coming. We will start now praying here, or we will be doing services of prayers here. I'm waiting to get a good space whereby we have the proper systems. We start the prayer services, especially healing, spring of supernatural healing. That one is coming up very soon after this program of MGS, Miracles Grace Service. So if you'd like to make your offering, or even make your ministry support, yes, you can tell me, man of God, I'm sending you my ranch for today. My number is the same, +254 112 796463. God bless you so much and have a very, very wonderful day. Let us not give up. These people had given up. Imagine, only one person had remained with the faith, Elisha. Only the man of God had remained with the faith. Everyone else had lost faith in God. And I know there comes a time, even the man of God has lost faith even with the God he is preaching, because of how dire the situation is. But God, can he lose faith in himself? Imagine God, even himself saying, I don't have faith. No, when we reach that point, we come and we say 2 Timothy 2 and verse 13. 2 Timothy 2 verse 13. If we are faithless, he will remain faithful, for he cannot disown himself. God bless you so much. Have a very wonderful, wonderful day. Let's meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. here, at 9 a.m. for another miracles grace service. And tomorrow we will be looking at something else that is very, very fantastical. So do not miss, do not miss tomorrow. Come and join us. Let us continue to activate the divine miracles of God. After here at 11 a.m., I will be on TikTok. And on TikTok, I will be speaking about the very dry bones becoming a vast army. You cannot choose to miss that program. Come and listen how you as a dry bone, how you can become a vast army, from a dry bone status to a vast army. God bless you so much. Have a wonderful day. Those who are making your offerings, my number is there. Make it, and God will bless you so much. Wonderful day.